Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, and thanks for stopping by and watching. So this is a 15 spray paint art video in the beginner's tutorial series, and in this one I'm going to show you how to make different size and types of stars, from small ones to big colourful stars, including shooting stars. I will also show you how to make a stencil for the big colourful stars, which I call a star stencil. I'll be using the same glossy card, which is A3 in size, and the same spray paint as the previous tutorials in the series, which is Montana White. If you are new to this series and interested in learning more about how to make art with spray paint, you can find the previous tutorials in the series here in the cards or in the description box below. So I hope you all enjoy watching and find this tutorial helpful. And if so, give it a thumbs up and please share with your friends and family, or anyone that you think may be interested in learning this type of art. And also, if you're a new visitor to my channel and like what you see, then please hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss out on future spray paint art videos. It'd be very much appreciated. Right then, I've already painted the sheet black for this tutorial, so I'll move on to showing you the first type of stars. These are most probably the stars you'll use the most in your paintings, and the smallest ones I'm going to show you in this tutorial. So to make these stars you'll need a white spray paint and spray some onto your finger. You could always use other things like a palette knife, toothbrush, paintbrush, or straight from the spray can by facing the cap away from the painting, like this. So just get the can and have the cap facing this way. And press the cap lightly and let the spray drop onto the sheet to make your stars. So I'll be showing you the method using your fingers to make the stars, as I think this is the best way of making these type of stars. So with that, we'll get the white spray paint and spray some onto your fingers, and then flick some of it back off your fingers away from your painting. Doing this will stop you having big blobs of white paint on your painting that don't look like stars. Then flick the rest of the paint off your fingers onto your painting to make the small stars. So we'll get the white spray paint. You want to spray some onto your fingers here. Like that. Then we're going to flick a bit away from the paper first, and then flick the rest onto the sheet to make the stars. You can do this process as many times as you want, till you have the right amount of stars you're looking for. So just remember, before you flick it on, after you've sprayed it onto your fingers, flick some of the paint away from the painting. Now with the small stars done, we'll move on to some that are a bit bigger. For these ones you'll need something that you can put a small hole in, like a piece of card, food tub lids, spray can lids, or anything you can put an hole in. I'm going to use a piece of card for this, so to make this all you have to do is make a small hole in the middle of the card, like this one. So you want something like this with a hole in the middle of the card. And to make the stars you want to get the card and hold it about 2 inches above your painting, and spray the white on the card where the hole is. This way you only get a small amount of paint through the hole and not on your painting. So I'll get the piece of card with the hole in and the white spray paint. Then we're going to hold it about 2 inches above the painting, and then we're just going to spray the white paint here in the middle where the hole is. And then just give it one spray. Do one more there. Now with them ones done, we'll move on to the big colourful stars. So for these stars you'll need to make some stencils, which I call star stencils. For this you'll need to get 3 pieces of card and 3 round things that are different sizes. Something like these. So you want 3 different lids to draw around, or round objects. Something like them 3. So again, smaller and smaller. And you'll also need a big round lid to draw around and a craft knife. So you want something like this. A big round lid or a round object that's a lot bigger than these 3 here. So to make these, first get the big lid and draw around it 3 times. And then cut them out with a craft knife. Just be careful when you're doing this and take your time. So I'll just sit this to one side a minute. So what you want to do, get a spare piece of card and your big lid, and then just get your pen or pencil and then just roughly draw around it like that. So you want to do this 3 times and then you'll end up with something like this. So you'll end up with 3 round circles like that. So now we have the 3 big circles, we need to make an hole in the middle of each one. This is where we'll use the 3 different size round things. So we'll start with the biggest one first and draw around it. So get your pen and pencil again. We'll get the biggest one, put it somewhere roughly in the middle, like there, and then just draw around it. And then using the craft knife, just cut it out. So just get me cutting mat, place it on top. You just want a craft knife like this. And just follow a circle around. Doesn't have to be that neat, as long as you've got an hole in the middle. So you end up with something like this. Now we've had one cut out, we can use it to trace a circle on the other 2. I do this just as a guide so it's easier to add the other 2 circles onto the stencils. So with a pen again, we'll get the other stencils and just put a quick circle there in the middle, and the same with this one. And then we'll get the next smallest one, place it in the middle and draw around it. Like that. And then we'll get the smallest one, place that in the middle, draw around that. And then you have your next 2 stencils to cut out. So with the craft knife we'll just cut them out. Just remember, take your time when you're doing this. They don't have to be neat or perfect, the circles. So that's the next one. Then we'll just do this last one, the smallest one. And then that's the smallest one. So now you've cut them out, you should have 3 stencils that look like this. So you have 3 different size holes. I make these stencils round as I think they're easier to hold than square ones. So I'll just move these back out of the way and get the paint in again. With that, we'll start with the biggest star stencil first and colour of choice. I'm going to use red, which is called Hot Lips. Now place the stencil over your painting where your star is going and spray the colour through the hole to put your first layer of colour down. You want to hold this about 6 inches above your painting. So we'll get the biggest star stencil and choice of colour. Like I said, I'm going to be using red and it's called Hot Lips. And then hold it above your painting where your star's going to go, about 6 inches or so, and then we're just going to spray through the hole. You can always move a stencil away and have a look at the colour that you've put down, and if you want to put some more down, just add some more. So just going to do a bit of mist around the outside, just lightly press it, and you can move a stencil around as you're doing it, so you have some mist. Now with the first layer done, we'll use the next smallest star stencil and spray the next choice of colour over the colour you've just put down. I'm going to use orange, and that's called bright orange. Make sure before spraying your colour you have it lined up somewhere in the middle of your first colour. And hold it a bit closer this time, about 4 inches above the painting. So with the next smallest star stencil, we'll add the next colour. So we'll get the orange that I'm using, bright orange. And we're going to hold it about 4 inches above the painting. So then we're just going to lightly spray it. So make sure it's in the middle. And then just lightly spray it. Like I said, you can move a star stencil out of the way and check it. If you want to add some more, you can. Like I said, just take your time when you're doing this. Just going to add a tad more thing. Now with the first 2 layers done, we'll use the smallest star stencil and spray the next colour of choice. I'm going to use yellow, which is called sunflower. Make sure before spraying your colour you have it lined up somewhere in the middle of the second colour. And hold it a bit closer this time, about 2 inches above the painting. So I'll get the smallest star stencil and the yellow that I'm using. Then we're going to line it up somewhere in the middle of the second colour. So just take your time when you're doing this. You can always move it back away from the painting. And then just give it a light spray like that. Now with all 3 layers of colour down, we'll move on to adding some lines to your star by using a straight edge. I'll be using a piece of card for the straight edge, but you could use a metal or plastic scraper or a piece of wood or anything with a straight edge on it. So with your straight edge, line it up in the middle of the 3rd colour and spray the lines with the white spray paint. So ideally, before you put your lines on your star, you want the paint to be completely dry, as you'll be placing the straight edge onto your painting, and if the paint isn't completely dry, the straight edge will dig into the paint, so when you pull it off it'll leave marks in your paint. But for this tutorial I'm just going to go ahead and put the lines in, so if it does leave any marks in the paint you can see what I'm on about. So when you're making the lines, you want to spray the paint in the middle of this card, and the overspray will be making the lines. So So with that, we'll get the card and we'll put it on the sheet in the middle of the third colour. Then you just want to spray in the middle of the card to make your first line. And we're going to add 4 lines to this. So the next one there, and then spray into the middle. And then one this way. As you can see, the paint's still wet, so it's pulled a bit of a paint off here. Can you see on the lip there and on the painting? That's why I said make sure it's completely dry before you're adding it. Because the closer you get to the sheet, the more neater the lines will be. So I'll add the 4th one here. So there are the lines for your star, and as you can see, where the cards has dug into the paint because it was wet. And just keep an eye on the card, because when you're spraying into the middle, the paint pools, and if you get too much on, it can run off and drop onto your painting. So just keep an eye on that when you're doing your stars. So now we have the lines for the star. We'll get the star stencil with the smallest hole in again, and get a lighter colour than the other 3 you have used. I'm going to use light yellow, which is called Saffran, and line the stencil up where the lines cross each other in the middle, and spray a light coat of colour. You want to hold the stencil about 2 inches above your painting for this. So we'll get the smallest star stencil again, and a light yellow. And we're just going to spray a light spray. So just remember, line it up where all the lines cross each other. So that's a light yellow in the middle of the star. And now with the same star stencil, get the white spray paint and just spray a light coat in the middle of that. So with the white, we'll just spray a real light coat. So that's a big star finished using the star stencils. You can always use the smallest star stencil and the card with the hole in it, the one we used earlier in the video, to make small colourful stars using just 2 colours. So I'm going to do a blue one first. So get a darker colour blue. The one I'm going to use is called Bavaria. Then with your smallest star stencil, just hold it about 2 inches above the painting and just lightly spray some blue. Like that. And then get a lighter shade of blue, or whichever colour you're using. I'm going to be using light blue for this. And the card with the hole in the middle. And what you want to do is line it up in the middle of the colour you just sprayed. So you can just keep moving it back and forth to check. And then as you can see there, I didn't quite get it in the middle. Sometimes it can be hard to line up. So I'll just do another one, but this time I'll use green. So I'll use a darker shade of green, which is called grass green. And with a small stencil, I'll put this one over here. So just a light spray. And then we'll get a lighter shade of green. I'm going to be using Viper. And the piece of card with the hole in the middle. And we'll line it up in the middle. So as you saw, using a piece of card with the hole in the middle, it can be sometimes hard to line it up in the middle of the colour that you just put down, because the card covers that much area up and you can't really see the colour you've put down beforehand. So when I'm doing these small colourful stars, I use something smaller so I can see the colour I put on beforehand before spraying the second colour. So instead of using a piece of card with an hole in the middle, I use this food tub. It's a cone shape with a hole drilled in the bottom. So when you place it over the top, you can line it up better in the middle. So I'm just going to show you that. So we'll get a small star stencil. I'm just going to do a red star. Just going to do one here. So with the red, spray the red there. And then with the cone shaped thing, like I said, this is just a plastic tub with an hole cut in the middle. But you can make a cone shape out of paper or anything. And then as you can see, it doesn't cover much of the area up of your painting. So you can place it over and see if it's in the middle or not. So I'm just going to get the orange. And you can just line it up. Spray a bit of orange in it. I'm just going to get a bit of yellow as well. And then just line it up so you can see the orange now underneath. And then just light spray like that. So as you saw then, it was a lot easier using a cone shaped object to get the colour in the middle. So with the small colourful stars done, I'll move on to the last stars, which are shooting stars. For these you'll want to get a piece of card and fold it in half, so you end up with something like this. So you get a piece of card and all you do is fold it in half, like that. Now we have a tool to make the shooting stars, we can add some to the painting. So for these we'll get the white spray paint and spray it in between the folded card. So we'll get the white spray paint, give it a shake, and what you want to do is you want to spray the white paint between the folds in the card. So you're going to be holding it something like that on the sheet and spray the white paint into the middle here. So place it on the sheet where you want your shooting star, and then just spray the white paint into the middle of the card, so the overspray will make the shooting stars. So I'll add a few more into it. So I'll add one here, so spray into the middle. And the more you press this in there, the more finer the end of your shooting star will be. So I'll put one more up here. So I'll push it a bit tighter now. And then see, you get a thinner one. And I'll just add one more here. So remember, grab it and the spray in between into the middle of the card, as the overspray will be making the shooting star for you. So there the shooting stars done using a folded piece of card. So before I put the clear coat on the painting, I just want to show you one last way of adding stars to your paintings, and that's using a paint pen. So just a white paint pen like this, and you can add a white into the middle of these big colourful stars here. So all you have to do is get your paint pen and just press lightly in the middle of these stars to give you a bit more added effect to your stars. But also, if you want, you can just add some bigger stars here and there. You could also add them to these stars you used with the hole in the middle in. So you can just randomly dot these anywhere in your painting. So that's just another way of adding stars to your painting using the paint pen. So with that, I'm just going to give the painting a clear coat. It's the same clear coat that I've used in some of my previous tutorials. So what we're going to do is spray from side to side and up the painting. So that's a clear coat on, and I've signed a painting. So I hope you enjoyed learning and found this spray paint art tutorial helpful. And if so, give it a thumbs up and please share with your friends and family or anyone that you think may be interested in learning this form of art. And also, if you're a new visitor to my channel and like what you saw, then please hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss out on future videos in the series. It'd be very much appreciated. And also, if you have any questions or want to know something, feel free to leave me a comment below and I'll be happy to help. And also, coming up in the next video in the series, I'll be showing you how to find, make and add a simple stencil to your paintings. So you'll need for this tutorial something to spray on, like gloss card or canvas or whatever you're using to spray on. You're going to need black and white spray paint and also some colours. Just make sure they are all the same make, as some makes of spray paint may react with each other. Something to sign your work with, like a palette knife or whatever you're using to sign your work. You're going to need a lid stencil, a mask and some gloves. You're also going to need a pen or a pencil and also a craft knife. And you're also going to need a spare piece of card. I'll also be using a computer and a printer in the tutorial. So once again, thank you for stopping by and watching. I hope to see you all in the next spray paint art video. Have a great day, take care and bye for now.